Hey everyone. I wanted to document my process for writing music, for composing, and so I decided to do that with the piece I'm working on right now for my good friend Natalie Magana. I'm doing that in different ways. I'm putting photos up on Instagram of the sketches I'm making, and this video, for example. And the point of these videos is to talk to you and explain the process or explain where I am in the process. So right now I'm in the very early stages of writing this piece. Natalie is a flute player, so the piece is for flute and doubling on piccolo. So she'll alternate between the two instruments, and I haven't decided yet how that's going to work or what that will be like, but right now I think that I might want the piece to end with the piccolo. So I'm stating that here on video. We'll see what happens. So a little bit about the project. Natalie put a post on Facebook saying how, given this difficult time we're all living in with the pandemic of COVID-19, she wants to do something positive for the world. So she wants to take her skill set, the exceptional skills of playing the flute, and put on a performance on Facebook Live. In doing that, she wanted to commission a couple of composers to write some music for her, and I'm so excited to be a part of that. This is the first piece I've written for a solo flute. I've written some works that use the flute in some way. I've written for orchestra and band, and I actually wrote a piece for her and a saxophonist 2 years ago. But this is quite different because with the solo piece, you can spend more time thinking about the nuance of the instrument and messing around with what the capabilities are, versus in a larger ensemble when there's a lot of sound happening at once and everyone has to be coordinated and in tune and everything like that. You can't be as, I guess you can say, adventurous or experimental with what you're trying to do musically as a composer. So that's the great thing about writing solo works, is that allows you to do that. It's sort of like actors giving a monologue, right? An actor can show their range and expression and in that monologue, which is why they have to audition using monologues to show what their skill sets are like. So anyways, that's kind of what a solo piece is like. Natalie and I had a video chat maybe 2 weeks ago just to start talking about the project. It didn't involve anything with her playing the instrument. We were just talking about what she wants to accomplish with this, and she wants to bring some positivity up with all this craziness going on. So what I usually do, what the way I operate in the early stages is I am a very collaborative sort of composer, right? I like to work a lot with the person who I'm writing for and understand as much as I can what their skill sets are. So everything I do is designed around the prowess of that person, like what they do best. So a lot of that conversation was about what Natalie is interested in accomplishing, the purpose of this project, and what her interests are as a performer, like technique-wise, what she likes to play and what she doesn't like to play, which is just as important, maybe even more important. Want to write a piece for someone that they want to play. So so we had that conversation, talked about time limits. It's going to be around 6 minutes long, give or take, 15 or so seconds, 30 seconds, who knows. But so after that phone call, I sat down, I sketched some ideas. Let's see here. Here's some things I wrote down. Whether or not that means anything, or if you can even see that. So the music that I love microtones. I love microtonal music, especially the way that Chelsea and Luigi Nono use microtones. So almost any piece I write is it's a given that that will be included. Being that this is for flute, the flute is a naturally very airy instrument, right? So the performer has to hold the flute just below their bottom lip, and they blow an airstream across the instrument. And what happens is when they blow across the instrument, the air splits into the instrument and out of it at the same time. So it naturally has a very breathy sound. So that's one of the things I really want to work with in this piece, is using air sounds. And that's something I generally like a lot. I like to use different vowels and consonances, and especially how aggressive a consonant can be. Like K. K is a very hard sound. And so with the flute, you can really bring that out a lot, especially if you do it inside of the instrument, because then the instrument itself acts like it is a resonating body. So that's something that I want to try to do with this piece. Some other things that I wrote down in this set of ideas is harmonic trills and singing while playing. And that second one, singing while playing, is one thing that I really want to work with a lot in this. Because with the flute, it's really interesting, since that, unlike the clarinet, the saxophone, the oboe, the bassoon, or any brass instruments, with the flute, the performer's mouth is completely exposed, meaning that they can talk while they're playing. Whereas with say for example, clarinet, the mouthpiece is in the mouth, so it's blocking the tongue and everything like that, and you can't properly form vowel shapes with something in your mouth. So with the flute, you can do that quite easily. And you can do that outside of the instrument. You can do it into the instrument, covering the sound hole. And so, I kind of got lost on that part there. What was it? Was I talking about air sounds? Or singing while playing? I was supposed to be talking about singing while playing. Yeah. Take 2. Okay. Singing while playing. Yeah. So because the instrument is separated from, it's not inside your mouth, it makes speaking a lot easier. You can literally speak. And and you can sing. So while you're playing a note on the flute and you start humming, you're now introducing this. It has this interesting effect where it at times, depending on the note that's being sung and the note that the flute is playing, it almost can create the sound of what sounds like a third instrument that isn't even there. Because the voice has a distinct sound and the flute has a distinct sound, but then when they come together, it distorts both in a way. And there could be a lot of interesting things that could happen, like there's a lot of beating, depending on how close together the two notes are. And there's also this thing called combination tones, which is a psychological phenomenon, I guess you can say. I think it's something like that. Like, it's a psychological phenomenon. It's not. It's the experience of hearing a sound that actually isn't happening in the air, because sound is vibrations in the air. A sound wave is vibrations in the air, so it's energy, molecules knocking into each other. A combination tone is just something that happens in your head. It's an interesting sort of thing. So with the flute and piccolo especially, that's very possible. I will be exploiting that. So where I am right now is I've written 2 sketches. Both sketches are focused on different things. So the one sketch I have, I don't expect you to get anything from looking at this, but I thought I'd show you because I want to include you in part of the process that I'm in right now. So this first sketch here, this is me kind of doing some things with the harmonic trills and microtones. There's a little bit of air sounds happening in there as well. And so I even wrote the little fingering diagram up here for me, so I knew what works and what doesn't work fingering wise, because that's important. Funny anecdote, when I sent Natalie a photo of this sketch, the first thing she sent back to me was, after the very first note, I have no idea what's going on. And then the second thing she said was, what did she say? one of the tremolos I gave her wasn't possible. And I just laughed to myself because composers, we often drive performers crazy with our inability to think about the physical capabilities of an instrument and our pursuit of artistic expression and creativity. So that was pretty funny. I like Natalie, so I changed it so it's not too crazy for her, but it doesn't mean there's nothing in it that's not easy. And then the other sketch I did, I wrote a sketch here. This one is focusing on singing while playing, so these really dark note heads here that have stems pointing down. Most of the time the stems are pointing down, right there it's not, but that's her singing, and then the notes above that is just the notes that are being played in the flute, or I should say the notes that are being produced by the flute. So, and once again, I don't expect you to really get anything too much just from seeing this, but I just want to include you in on the process and like sort of how I'm thinking about things. I wrote these two sketches within the last 2 days, and I sat down for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours each, and it was really just sort of stream of consciousness writing. I took some of the ideas I wrote on the first page that I showed, and I just tried to focus on that and maybe expand upon it a little bit more. I'm not thinking too much about specific harmonic content. Whenever I write any piece, I mean, like any composer, you're going to think about what the limitations and the capabilities of an instrument are. So, excuse me, with the flute, the lowest note is the B, B3, which is right below middle C. And so that's something that can, that's informing how I'm thinking about it, at least. The very beginning of the piece is starting on that low B. And I kind of tend to do that is when I write pieces, I'll use the actual range of what the instrument does in specific sections. So the beginning of this piece is starting, at least right now, it's starting with that low B in the flute, which isn't very powerful. It doesn't carry very well, but it has a sort of, I guess you can say, haunting quality in a way. I have Samuel Adler's The Study of Orchestration, his description of all the instruments and the ranges. I wrote down the way he describes that range is weak but luscious. So, Samuel Adler. The low range of the flute, as described by Samuel Adler in The Study of Orchestration, is weak but luscious. So yeah, that's where I am right now in the process of writing this piece. And I sent both sketches to Natalie, and she'll be sending me some recordings of her playing through it, and then through the next couple of days, I'm sure, letting me know, like, hey, this works, this doesn't work, what if we did this, and And so this is the sort of back and forth and collaborative aspect of writing that I really, I getting your hands dirty, that sort of thing. This is what I love about it is figuring out what it is I'm trying to do, how well it works, and if they can and want to do it, and then having that open communication about it. Right, because that's where collaboration starts. Is the communicative, it's the communication between the performer and the composer. So the next thing tomorrow, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do another sketch, and this one's going to focus mainly on the air sounds, yeah. So the other thing is that the piece isn't going to be, I'm not thinking about it where like there's one section where it's just harmonic trills, another section is air sounds, and another section is singing while playing. I'm essentially just trying to flesh out all these ideas to see what I can come up with, and then how I would potentially use them, and then throw it all together and see, sort of do like a copy paste or cut and paste sort of thing. Like, oh, this should go here and this can go here, and So, and I don't normally write in this way either. I sort of have before, but not exactly. So this is sort of a new thing for me. But then as for the title of the piece, right now, or one thing I can say is that I know the word, I don't know if it's Cyrus or Cyrus, but it's spelled Cyrrhus, and it was an ancient city in Syria. And in the first conversation I had with Natalie, she had talked about that city, some historical aspect about it that she really likes and connects with her flute playing. So as a way to, because the piece is for Natalie, so I want to include that in the title, just because show appreciation, and it's for her. But yeah, so I don't know exactly what the title will be, but it will include that word in it, Cyrus or Cyrus, however you say. I have no idea. In any case, so thank you for watching. I'll have another update, maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday. I don't know. But very soon, within a week, we'll say. So, thanks for watching. All right, go make some noise.